Okay, fair warning, this show contains strong language and adult themes.
It starts with let the good times roll.
Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Everything is Emo with me, Haley Williams. I want to start this episode out with a band that I love called Refused. This song is taken from their album, The Genre Shifting and Genre Shaping, The Shape of Punk to Come.
It's coming through the air for all of us to hear. Could it be the sounds of liberation or just the image of the soul? We want the airways back. We want the airways back. We don't just want airtime. We want all the time, all of the time. We want the airways back. We want the airways back. We don't just want transmission. We want. It's coming through the air for all of us to hear. Could it be the sounds of liberation or just the image of detention? Control, not the war. This is just a way to devour. Who's in charge of what does it say? Is it playing the alternative or does it sound the same way? We want the airways back. We want the airways back. We want transmission for the people we need. We wanted everything. We needed everything. We needed everything. Airways back. We want the airways back. We don't just want airtime. We want all the time, all of the time. What frequency are you getting? Was it not to sweet dream music? What frequency will liberation be? What frequency will liberation be? What frequency are you getting? Is it not to sweet, sweet, sweet? What frequency will liberation be? What frequency? What frequency?
All right, that was Liberation Frequency from Refused. The album is The Shape of Punk to Come if you want to go check it out.
We got more coming.
That song is so special to me. The message of it just felt so real to me. It was at the time that Paramore were getting ready to come out with our second album, Riot. We were kind of in this in-between place where a lot of people knew the band, but we still had, you know, radio and television and all that to sort of try and take over. And I felt that, you know, at the time we were an acquired taste, and I wanted to prove to people that we could do it. We could be a band that everyone would remember. So we actually sampled Liberation Frequency in our song Born for This. And I have never forgotten how nice the Refused guys were to let us do that. I love this band. I was introduced to Refused on the way to a birthday party. I got picked up in a kid from school's truck, headed to the birthday party. Couldn't have been 5 minutes away from my house, but in that 5 minutes, my world changed, and I heard Refused. So with this episode, I really wanted to bring in bands that may not have necessarily been what you would call or label emo, but being a teenager in 2002 was such a wild time for music because bands were all over the radio. Alternative music, indie music was actually popular music. And I think that it was the beginning of kind of shaping what we see today as mainstream rock music and alternative pop music. To me, so much of that started in the early 2000s. So many of those bands kind of set the course for, the music industry as we know it today. And there were a lot of bands on the fringes, weren't really part of the emo scene, but emo kids were really, really obsessed with them. Bands like Yeah Yeah Yeahs and The Strokes, bands like The Killers. Like, these were bands that were really, really big and you couldn't get away from them. So we adopted a lot of those bands. And no exception to that rule is none other than Conor Oberst, who was in Bright Eyes. He was also in a band called Desaparecidos, which I knew before I knew Bright Eyes, but this is a Bright Eyes song from the album Lifted. I love his poetry. This is the song Lover I Don't Have to Love.
I bet you out of a crowd and talked to you. Said I liked your shoes. You said thanks, can I follow you? So it's up the stairs and out of you, no prying eyes. I poured some wine. I asked your name, you asked the time. Now it's 2 o'clock. The club is closed, we're up the block. Your hands on me, pressing hard against your jeans, your tongue in my mouth, trying to keep the words from coming out. You didn't care to know who else may have been you before. I want a lover I don't have to love. I want a girl who's just out to give. Who's the kid with the chemicals? I thought he said to meet him here, but I'm not sure. I got the money if you got the time. You said it feels good. I said I'll give it a try. Then my mind went dark. We both forgot where your car was parked. Let's just take the train. I'll meet up with the band in the morning. Bad actors with bad habits. Some sad singers, they just play tragic. And the phone's ringing and the band's leaving. Let's just keep touching. Let's just keep singing. I want a lover I don't have to love. I want a boy who's so drunk he doesn't talk. It was the kid with the chemicals. I got a hunger and I can't seem to get full. I need some meaning I can memorize. The kind I have always seems to slip my mind. But you write such pretty words. But life's no storybook. Love's an excuse to get hurt. And to hurt, do you like to hurt? I do, then hurt me. 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 Then hurt me.
that's Bright Eyes, Lover I Don't Have to Love. God, Conor Oberst, growing up, I think that he was the epitome of emo. I don't even know if he would like hearing that. Conor, I'm sorry if you don't like it. He had that shaky voice and those lyrics that could just like drive a stake through your heart. Oh man, and he's just gone on to inspire so many other great artists. I mean, Phoebe Bridgers collaborates with him all the time and has sung his praises, you know, plenty of times. If you're a Phoebe fan, then you definitely know Conor Oberst. So had to play him on this, man. He's emo king. And another little factoid, this song was featured on an episode of The OC called The Undertow. The OC was massive, especially in the early 2000s. They were responsible for breaking a lot of bands. The fact that they featured Bright Eyes just means they have taste. I loved the OC, but we were on tour most of the time, so I really didn't keep up with it like my friends did. But whenever a band was broken on the show, whenever a song, like now we would call it going viral, when a song would go viral from an episode of the OC, like I always knew about that. It was always big news, and it was all over the blogs, online. But you know, we were in a van, like I didn't have television or cable. I just kind of had my homework and, you know, it's like little tiny stages. I feel like it would be a good time to go back and watch it from start to finish. I know that generationally there are a lot of definitions for the word emo, and the genre of emo looks different based on maybe, I don't know, like it might be what part of the world you live in, or it might be what year you graduated high school, or it could be a lot of things. For me, one band that I always go back to and that I see as sort of a starting point for what was to come later in multiple genres is The Cure. Robert Smith is just, he writes these sappy, beautiful lyrics, and he writes happy melodies and sad melodies. I mean, he's so emotive, and I grew up trying to emulate him and trying to understand how he could paint a beautiful, full picture with just the first two lines of a song. And so this week, our On Shuffle album is Wish by The Cure, and we're gonna give it a spin and see what we come up with. Oh man, it's Trust. I love this song. I have so many memories of being a teenager, putting this record on, and actually probably putting it on shuffle too. Just doing my homework, writing, you know, lyrics, or just kind of free writing journal entries for myself. I used to stay up really, really late, and I had a red light bulb in my room. I'm sure neighbors outside didn't know what to think of that at the time, but I had such a vibe in my room at night, putting on The Cure and lighting a candle and just getting into my witchy vibes, you know? And this band is such a great one to start with. If you don't know where to start in like any of the subgenres of punk or alternative music, The Cure is great because The Cure has pop songs, they have shoegazy songs like this one, which you're about to hear. And I think one of the coolest things to me about bands like The Cure, and bands are still doing it today, is the long ass intros. Nothing will set the mood like a 3-minute musical intro that Robert Smith and his band are playing. So this is The Cure. Just enjoy Trust.
There is no one left in the world I could hold on to. There is really no one left at all. There is only you. And if you leave me now, you leave all that we were undone. There is really no one left. You are the only one. Still the hardest part for you to put your trust in me. I love you more than I can say. Why won't you just believe? Still the hardest part for you to put your trust in me. I love you more than I can say. Why won't you just believe?
If you like what you're hearing and you haven't hit subscribe yet, what are you doing? Come on, hit subscribe on this series so you'll know when the next episode is available on BBC Sounds.
They've been saying you're sophisticated. They're complaining, overeducated.
still I know you think of me when you think of her, but then it don't make sense when you're trying on to do the right thing, but with a right compass, and then you did something wrong. You said it was great, and now you don't know how you could ever complain because you're all confused, because you want me to, but then you want me to do it the same way as you would, but I don't anything. I know it's not your fault. I don't want anyone. Stockholders. Same shit, a different life. I get it right sometime. Maybe not tonight. Maybe not tonight. Maybe not tonight. Maybe not tonight.
That was The Adults Are Talking by The Strokes. Like I said, this is one of those bands that even though you might not equate them with the emo genre, they were a favorite. The Adults Are Talking comes from their album The New Abnormal, which came out in 2020. This was a really bright spot for me as a music fan and just a human living in the midst of all of it. I was so happy when this record dropped and I could put this on and like make banana bread with the rest of the world. So the Strokes' first album came out in 2001. That's actually the year that I moved to Nashville. It really wasn't until 2002 that the guys and I became really big Strokes fans. You know, we were so young that I would assume that one of the older brothers, like Josh and Zach's older brother or Taylor's older brothers, might have shown us the Strokes. And I definitely remember listening to Last Night and, you know, all, like, you know, their songs are classic, any of them and all of them, just in one of the guys' rooms when we were doing band practice and wishing that we were the Strokes. I mean, what band at some point doesn't wish they were the Strokes? Okay, that was the Linda Lindas with Oh. I'm so excited to be sharing this band. I hope you've already heard of them, but if you haven't, it's as good a time as any to get into them. Their debut album, Growing Up, just came out. I am so pumped on what the Linda Lindas mean to, well, the present already, but also the future of young punk rock. Mark my words, man, this band's gonna be around. They have it, they have the thing, they have the drive, and they're so politically aware. It's incredible to me. They went viral sometime during the pandemic with a song called Racist Sexist Boy, which was one of my favorites by them, and it's on the debut album. And one of my favorite lyrics in it is, "We rebuild what you destroy." I think that's so sick. But obviously you just heard the song Oh, which I also think is a badass song. They've got so many that I know you'll love. Just check them out and let me know what you think about them. You can hit me up on WhatsApp. The number is 07340 100 100. Please start your message with the word emo and head to bbc.co.uk/emo for all the T and C's. That's terms and conditions. Tell me what you think about these kids. They are between ages 11 and 17. That is insane. Okay, let's put Wish by The Cure back on shuffle. Okay, the song is called Apart. We're really getting into the shoegazy songs on this album, and I'm happy about it. This song, again, reminds me of doing homework late into the night. I was on the only computer we had in the house, which was like a desktop PC that my mom let me keep in my room for much of high school. This was kind of, you have to remember, this was really before social media had kind of taken off, so the most dangerous thing that I was getting into was AOL Instant Messenger. I was a pretty good kid. I would put on The Cure on like Windows Media Player, shuffle it, let the songs come up as they wanted to, and just work on my creative writing assignments or whatever. And funny, I used to take Paramore lyrics into my creative writing class, as my homework. And one time my teacher was like, I'm not really sure what this is, but this isn't what the assignment was, and so I'm gonna have to give you an F. I got more than one F on Paramore lyrics in creative writing.
Waits for her to understand, but she won't understand at all. She waits all night for him to call, but he won't call anymore. He waits to hear her say forgive, but she just drops her pearl black eyes and prays to hear him say I love you, but he tells no more lies. Waits for her to sympathize, but she won't sympathize at all. She waits all night to feel his kiss, but always wakes alone. He waits to hear her say forget, but she just hangs her head in pain and prays to hear him say no more. I'll never leave again. How did we get this far apart? We love would last forever. It's for her to understand, but she won't understand at all. She waits all night for him to call, but he won't call. He waits to hear her say forgive, but she just drops her pearl black eyes and prays to hear him say I love you, but he tells no more lies. How did we get this far apart? We used to be so close together. How did we get this far apart? I thought this love would last forever. How did we get this far apart? We used to be so close together. How did we get this far apart? I thought this love would last forever.
If you like what you're hearing, you can get more episodes by searching Everything is Emo now on BBC Sounds. Again, with this episode, we're talking about bands that were co-opted by the emo scene. Not necessarily bands you would think emo off the top of your head, but we loved them. And this is the ultimate emo but not emo band to me. The Killers. The Killers, they did it. They brought theatrics into the mainstream. They kind of were, like, to me, this bigger, older brother of a band like Panic at the Disco, who were the kings of our scene, in that time. And the Killers were just a really important band all around. I've still yet to find one person, no matter what generation, no matter what style of music that they're into, who doesn't love Mr. Brightside. I want to play a song that was my favorite off of Hot Fuss. I think that whole album is incredible, first of all, but this is my favorite one. This is called Smile Like You Mean It by the Killers.
Save some face. You know you've only got one. Change your ways while you're young. Boy, one day you'll be a man. Oh, girl, he'll help you understand. Smile like you mean it. Smile like you mean it. Looking back at sunsets on the east side, we lost track of the time. Dreams on what they
that I did, on the same streets that I did. Smile like you mean it. Smile like you mean it. Smile like you mean it. Smile like you mean it.
Let's take a deep dive back in time to 1989. Months after I was born, I was just a wee baby. This is actually one of the bands that started this movement, this post-hardcore, post-punk scene that I feel like was really emotional for the time and for the genre, like hardcore specifically. But what's interesting is when you go back and you read about these bands like Fugazi or Rites of Spring, the frontmen for these bands that were very vocal, like they didn't really get what the big fuss was about. They didn't understand why the word emo. Like I remember reading a quote from one of them, it might have been someone from Rites of Spring saying, why is this emotional and other hardcore isn't? Like, isn't all music emotional? And I just want to say amen to that, because I think if you are a musician, and especially, like particularly if you write lyrics and you yell them into a microphone every night, I would say you have to be a pretty emotional person to do that. And it has given me such an outlet to be able to do that in my work. So I just look back at bands like this and say, thank you. Hats off to you, Fugazi, for this song that will forever be in my heart. They have inspired so many bands that I love, so many hardcore bands, post-punk bands, bands like Me Without You. This is Waiting Room by Fugazi.
Please don't leave me to remain.
now it's time for our last track of this week's On Shuffle album, Wish by The Cure. Oh my God, you guys are gonna think I did this on purpose, and I didn't, because that's the beauty of On Shuffle. This is one of the biggest Cure songs of all time. People who don't even know that The Cure is a band that exists will still know this song. So, without further ado, Friday I'm in Love.
I don't care if Monday's blue, Tuesday's grey and Wednesday too. Thursday, I don't care about you, it's Friday, I'm in love. Monday, you can fall apart. Tuesday, Wednesday, break my heart. Oh, Thursday doesn't even start, it's Friday, I'm in love. Saturday, wait. Sunday always comes too late. But Friday never hesitate. I don't care if Monday's black. Tuesday, Wednesday, hard to tell. Thursday, never looking back. It's Friday, I'm in love. Monday, you can hold your head. Tuesday, Wednesday, stay in bed. On Thursday, watch the walls instead. It's Friday, I'm in love. Saturday, wait. Sunday always comes too late. But Friday never hesitate. Dressed up to the eyes, it's a wonderful surprise to see your shoes and your spirits rise. Throw out your frown and just smile at the sound. Sick as a sheep spinning round and round. Always take a big bite, it's such a gorgeous sight to see you eat in the middle of the night. You can never get enough of this stuff. It's Friday, I'm in love. I don't care if Monday's blue, Tuesday's grey and Wednesday too. Thursday, I don't care about you. It's Friday, I'm in love. Monday, you can fall apart. Tuesday, Wednesday, break my heart. Thursday doesn't even start. It's Friday, I'm in love.
Okay, it's time for AOB, Any Other Business. This is where I share with you what I'm digging right now, and in return, I would love for you to share with me what you're also into. Thank you guys so much for sending suggestions and just writing in and sending voice memos. This is an email that we got from David in Cork. He says, "Hey Haley, you possibly heard of them already, but I'm really getting back into the emo band The Hotelier. They're an emo band from Massachusetts. I fell in love with their album Home Like No Place Is There when it came out, and I just rediscovered it recently. Your Deep Rest and Among the Wildflowers are two standout tracks from it. I'm looking forward to the next Paramore album and hopefully a rescheduled Petals for Armor tour. Take care." David, thank you. I appreciate that. Can't wait to be back out there. This band is really cool, and I remember this album coming out too and being a pretty big deal to me. And I love what you said. I love that you mentioned rediscovering it, because so many great albums have that power to make you come back to them again and again and sort of discover new things about them or kind of understand them from a different point in your life. So I think we should totally play a track from this album. I'm just gonna go, oh gosh, which one do I wanna do? Let's go with Your Deep Rest.
So while you're fixing up your bed, so while you're organizing drawers, you should just listen to the problems had with problems of yours. And what's that note you're writing there? Why are you giving me this back? This was a gift from when we met, back when you were so upset. I called in sick from your funeral. The sight of your body made me feel uncomfortable. I couldn't recognize your shell. You're branching off at an end for all the weight that made you bend. And when you tried to shed your leaves, you pined for warmth, as they said. Your lack of love for yourself is sapping all of us here out. Trace your roots back to the ground, work out the knot holes for yourself. I called in sick from your funeral. The sight of your family made me feel responsible. And I found the notes you left behind. Little hints and helpless cries. Desperate wishing to be over. You said you're trapped in your body, getting deeper every day. They diagnosed you born that way. They say it runs in your family. Generation with people's background, with despair trickles down. And now it's chemical crunch, open up, follow down. You said remember me for me. I need to set my spirit free. I called in sick from your funeral. I called in sick. Traditional closure nearly felt impossible. I called in sick. I should have never gave birth to you. Not a cry, not a sound. I don't like how to swim, never caught how to drown. You said remember me for me. Oh, I can set your spirit free.
That was David's choice for AOB this week. If you would like to share what new bands you're loving right now or records you're getting back into, please send me a message or a voice note on WhatsApp. The number is 07340 100 100. Don't forget to start your message with the word emo and head to bbc.co.uk/emo for all the terms and conditions. In the next episode, the album that I'm going to put on shuffle, I'm really excited about this one. It's LP2 from American Football. American Football, I mean, this is a quintessential emo band. And they have those twinkly guitars and little mathy parts that just, I mean, nobody does it like American Football. And so in 2017, when they put out this album that was like, I want to say it was 15 or 16 or 17 years after their first album. It was a really big deal for me because I was a little bit late to their first album. I was way too young to kind of understand what this music was and the lyrics and all of that. And this record is just so beautiful. So I can't wait to share it with you guys next episode. I hope you love it. And now, to finish out this week's episode, I want to play a song from LP3 by American Football that features little old me. It's called Uncomfortably Numb. I can't believe I got to do this. I can't believe I got to sing with American Football. I love this song so much. See you guys next week. Bye.
Sensitivity deprived. I can't feel a thing inside. I blamed my father in my youth. Now as a father, I blame the booze. I have become uncomfortably numb. Sensitivity deprived. All my sympathy prescribed. I used to struggle in my youth. Now I'm used to struggling for two. I have become uncomfortably